Hey guys, if you want to learn how to channel in 2 simple ways without any prior experience, without necessarily being a psychic, then you are in the right place, because in the next few minutes I will teach you 2 different tactics that you can try at home on your own with no training, nothing, no fancy stuff, just as it is, as you are right now. And we will go through it together. My name is Katarina Berry. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. I am creating a lot of content for empaths, which also includes people with psychic abilities, people who are intuitive, who are sensitive to energy and emotions and thoughts of other people, and nature, plants, planet, you name it. So if you are interested in that type of in these types of topics, please subscribe to my channel, hit that bell button so you get notified when I upload. I've been uploading a lot more lately because I'm kind of homebound a little bit due to this outbreak, and I'm recording this video in March 2020. So yes, so there will be a lot of uploads going on. Another thing that I want to mention before we get started with the 2 techniques on how you can try channeling is there are 2 more videos that I would like you to consider checking out. First of all, the first one's going to show up right about now. If you don't know what channeling is, or who channelers are, or if you've heard that term, you're like, I don't know what that really is, but it's sounds kind of like interesting / weird, check out that video first. And then if you want to know about some examples of channeling in literature, check out this video. I'm just bringing 2 examples. There are a lot more, but these are like kind of close to my heart. The first one is Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and the second one is a very modern book. It's called Copywriting Secrets. It's part of this like funnels marketing series, and I have a small business doing marketing. So I was reading that book just to kind of, get a little more experience under my belt and like learn something new. And then I was like, whoa, this whole chapter is about channeling. Like, what? Of course, neither Napoleon Hill nor this guy, Jim Edwards, who wrote the second book, are calling it channeling, but I'm going to read the 2 chapters on channeling. And in that video, and you can kind of hear and kind of compare the two texts if you're into that kind of stuff. So okay, without further ado, let's get into the 2 ways that you can try channeling at home. No prior experience, no psychic mediums certifications, no fancy stuff needed. There's nothing that you need that you probably don't already have. If you don't have a journal, you can grab a piece of paper. So that's the only thing that you'll really need. If you don't have a voice recorder, you can grab your phone. So let's start with the first one. The first one is going to be the technique that I personally practice most. It just works for me. It just does. So I write a lot by hand. I journal. So that's why it probably works like best for me, because I already like to journal. It feels natural to me. It kind of lets me clear my mind and get some of my thoughts out on paper so they're not like buzzing in my head. I am a claircognizant empath, and I have some other psychic empath inclinations. But if you want to know what the types are, and what specifically the claircognizant type is, you can check out the video on the 4 types, and then another video on the claircognizant type specifically. So I have a lot of that happens in my mind. It's like a lot of thoughts, a lot of mind things, a lot of like stuff like that. And so as a claircognizant, it helps for me to journal and like get the thoughts out on paper and just get some ideas worked out so that I don't feel like I have to remember all of them all the time. That's how I get a lot of my like downloads. But This method works good for me because I enjoy writing by hand. So that's enough. I feel like that's enough clarification on this first method. It's easy to do. All you need is a journal or a piece of paper, a pen, a quiet space where you're not going to be disturbed. You can put some relaxing music on. I suggest no words, like singing bowl music, Tibetan bowl music, just some kind of beats, relaxing meditation, tunes, stuff, whatever. Something that will relax you. I like to do it quiet, honestly, but for some folks, it might help to have some music going. Now, then what you're gonna do, now channeling, you're accessing another intelligence. And we all have this ability because our mind is not our brain, our mind is not stuck in our head or like attached to our arm or like stuck to our eyebrow. Like mind is like air, it's everywhere and it's nowhere, it's like all over, like there is no location for it. So the mind can travel, and that way you can connect to other forms of intelligence, other minds that are not your own. And it's, if you imagine your mind being like air, then you can be anywhere, including your past memories. You can just think about something that happened in the past and boom, you're there. In your mind, you're there, but you're physically here, but you're like there, and it's like you're remembering something. But that's an example of how the mind can travel. So imagine that just imagine whoever you're trying to access. Now, when I channel, I work with different types of intelligence. I work with ascended masters. I have a few ascended masters that I work with consistently and regularly. I'd like to possibly make another video about that, but maybe a little later down the road when I feel like ready for it. But there are several masters that I work with. There are the angelic realm, which is archangels, and I can access their instructions too, although usually for me tends to be a little less verbal and a little more like inspiration. But when it comes to automatic writing, which is this first method, it's usually the ascended masters or people that have passed away. And now I'm not just talking about someone in my family or my friend's grandma, which has happened, or a friend of mine or someone that I knew. I'm talking also about like writers like Napoleon Hill, Madame Blavatsky, who started the Theosophical movement. She's like this incredible Russian mystic writer. Then historical figures. I've channeled Anne Boleyn before because I just have always felt such a connection with her. Joan of Arc, Queen Elizabeth of England, and several other figures. Now, do I do this randomly? No. Sometimes I just want to channel their strength, their courage, their wisdom, and sometimes I want to ask them for advice. So you can really channel anyone that you want. Do they have to be dead? Not necessarily. But really, I feel like for me, I have not attempted channeling a person that is still living, just because I just don't feel like that's an appropriate way to access their intelligence. It almost just doesn't kind of feel right, because I can just reach out to them. But for the ones that have crossed over, I feel like they are still present to some extent in this floating form of intelligence, and if I want to access their wisdom, that really is the only way. So just like find out who you want to channel first. If you know some ascended masters, if you know a person that you want to channel, just focus on that. Just focus on that figure. Just focus on that being. And I would also recommend, if it helps, surrounding yourself with something that reminds you of them. Maybe it's a picture in a history book. Maybe it's the book that they've written. Maybe it's the movie that they were in. Maybe it's their color. If it's an ascended master, usually an ascended master has some colors associated with their aura, their presence. So for like a very well-known, or I would say more well-known ascended master, now I can't, now my mind's blank, Saint Germain, his color is typically purple violet. I know that Master Jesus the color is usually yellow or golden, golden and white. Mother Mary is usually light ocean blue, baby blue colors. So there's a variety of ways to kind of like recreate the presence. So something that kind of puts you in touch with their energy. But if you don't want to do that, if you don't feel like it, it's not necessary. You can just kind of submerge yourself into what they mean to you. What is that you want to find out from them? Why them? What it means to you personally, and just kind of feel it, focus on it. And then open the journal or take that piece of paper, take that pen, and just start writing. Whatever comes to your mind. Don't think about it. Don't think like, what would they say to me? No, just whatever starts coming to your mind, a thought. Whatever it is. It's hard for me to describe because really it is automatic writing. So I don't want to give you like, for example, so that you kind of like start comparing yourself to that or holding yourself to that, because that's not the point. The point is to write down whatever comes to you. And I try not to think about it. I don't read it or analyze it or like sit there and like, that means this and that. As long as I'm doing that, I don't think about it. I don't read it. I don't like pay attention to it specifically. I just write and write and write and write until I feel like it's a good point to stop, or until the writing says something along the lines of like goodbye or something like that, or like we're wishing you well or something. And usually when I do channeling through can't pronounce it now, automatic writing, whoever I'm channeling refers to me as you. I've heard from other channelers that that's often the case. Now, a little bit of warning, if that's your first time, your ego might get in the way. And what I mean by that, you might be thinking too much. You might be too much in your head, like, oh my God, am I doing this right? Is this correct? Should I be doing something different? Is this what it's supposed to be like? And all this stuff. And a good way to tell that it's not really the channeled message, but instead your ego kind of speaking, is if the messages start getting really negative, or if they tell you shouldn't be doing this, you're wrong, you're a failure, you're slacking off, I don't like you. Like that's not really channeling. That's your ego. That's you're in your head and you're getting all that negativity from your own brain. So it's a good time to stop, take a break, maybe set it for another day when you feel a little more balanced, aligned, peaceful, and then try again. So if you're getting some negative messages or some things that are suggesting things that are not good for you, or possibly even bad for you, stop it. You're not channeling, you're in your head. It's just some stuff. So don't, just stop and take a break and then come back to it when you feel a little more peaceful, or maybe even just like withdrawn, maybe like a little absent-minded. That's a good state for channeling, because you're not really trying to get your thoughts on paper. You're trying to access this other intelligence. So you need to be receptive. You can't be controlling it or analyzing it or or thinking about it while also doing it. You have to be kind of blank, and you have to just let it come through, and you have to write, and then when it's a good time to stop, and then maybe take a few moments and then read it, and then you can kind of start to decipher the message. So that was method number one. That's my favorite. That's what I always do. That works for me, works best for me. And I learned it fairly quickly. The first few times I tried, I got something. And then I had a few times where it was like either negative messages or very controlling, like you need to make this much money by this date and this will help you do that and that. And then I would read it and I'd go like, yeah, that's not channeling. That's me and my brain. That's ego stuff. Like that's not something an ascended master would tell me. It's very earthbound. It's very too pragmatic. That's not really like a spiritual or inspiring or helpful message. It's just me in my head. So just scrap that. It happens. But the messages have this, usually these channeled messages should have a kind of like an impartial kind of sense to them, that it's something, it can be very profound, it can be something that's very out there in terms of like spiritual meaning. It can have a lot of wisdom that you go like, whoa, like where did that come from? But it's not, it shouldn't be like beating yourself up, or you should do this, never do that. Like, that's not channeling, that's you in your head. So just to clarify, then the second method, I know that it works better for some people that are not so much into journaling. They don't write by hand that much, and this could be actually a better way to try this out. So it's the method that allows you to channel through meditation, in a sense. So you're not writing anything. You just set up a voice recorder and just don't set it just to set it to record. And if you don't have a voice recorder, like most people don't have a voice recorder, just use an app on your phone. If you have an iPhone, the app is already there. If you don't have an iPhone, then just download a voice recording app. It's pretty simple. There should be some free ones. And what you do is you get comfortable. Either you sit on the couch, or sit in a comfortable chair, or sit on the yoga mat on the floor, or on the cushion, or you lay down in your bed or somewhere. You just get comfortable, and don't expect anything to come through on the first try. It may take you a few times, but your goal is to relax and to imagine, again, just like with automatic writing, you're supposed to imagine whoever you're trying to channel. Now, there's a little bit of a caveat to that. If you feel like you're ready to channel, you feel like there is a message for you, sometimes you won't know who it's from. You don't know the master or all the archangels or whatever, how you have it, I don't know, what am I trying to say? What have you is what I was trying to say. But you don't know who you're gonna channel. You just feel like there's a message for you, and you're kind of like feeling like it's ready to come through. You just don't know who it's from, or how to address them, or like who they are, their aura, colors, whatever. Don't worry about that. So don't imagine anyone in particular. Don't ask for any specific like master or being. Just get into that state. Just get into the relaxed state. Sometimes it's not important who it's coming from. The important thing is the message. So whether you know who you're channeling or you don't know who you're channeling, just relax, lay down. If you don't know who you're channeling, set an intention that it's in your best interest. It's for your highest good. It's for the highest good of all. Because, being an empath, being sensitive, you can attract some negative energies. No one has time for that. No one needs that. So just set an intention. You have free will. It's powerful. It's the most powerful thing. Set an intention that whatever energies come through are in your best interest, are benevolent, are for your highest good, for the highest good of all. Just don't write it, don't say it, just think it. Okay, whatever's coming through is going to be for my highest benefit, for the highest good of all. That's it. And then your recording is on. You lay down, sit down, do whatever you feel to get comfortable, whatever you need to get comfortable. Close your eyes and start breathing. Just relax. Some thoughts are gonna pop up, come through. Don't pay attention. It's gonna happen. It's just like with meditation. You just have to let it. You acknowledge them. You're like, yep, I'm having a thought. It's okay. I don't have to think about that right now. And do that as long as it takes, and just keep focusing on your breathing. Relax your body. Focus on different parts of your body that you're relaxing until you're completely relaxed and you feel like you're kind of floating. You're not asleep, but you're very relaxed. If you fall asleep, that's totally okay. That way, again, it might take you a few times to get there, but if you start getting a clear kind of thing come through where you're like, I'm not really thinking, but this is what's coming to me, just start saying it out loud. Whatever words, if it's an emotion, if you're suddenly having this warm feeling, oh, I'm feeling warm, I'm feeling really good, I'm feeling a lot of love, wow, I'm feeling like it's gonna be a great thing to go for a walk today, and drink an extra glass of water, and oh wow, I really feel like I should call my mom, and oh, and then there's this idea. So it's just an example. Please don't compare. Don't hold this as like a I don't know what a template. It's not a template. I'm just giving you an example. So it can be feelings, it can be physical sensations, it can be feelings of like how you feel, what you're feeling, some kind of like an instinctive like, oh, I should really do this. Oh, this would feel really good. Would feel really good to take a long bath. And it can be anything. It can be a thought, an idea that's just coming to you. The key here is that you're receptive and it's coming to you. You're not analyzing it, you're not fighting it. You're simply saying it out loud while you're also voice recording it, so you don't have to worry about remembering or not remembering something after this meditation. And this can last for a little while, and you might want to fall asleep afterwards. You might feel a little tired after this, especially if you're not channeling anyone in particular and just letting this stuff come through for the first time. It can just take some energy, and you might want to rest afterwards, and it's totally okay. Usually I kind of rest after channeling because I eat. I get hungry because it kind of takes me out of my body a little bit, and then I want to ground. But you want to make sure you have some healthy foods, and not like eat a bunch of garbage because you're just hungry. It's totally okay to fall asleep afterwards or want to fall asleep or rest. In fact, I encourage that. If you're channeling someone in particular, you might not get a clear message, or you might get a word, or you might get just something, or you might get nothing, and it might take you a few times. But it's fun to try out. You don't really need anything to do it. If you've been curious about channeling, and I know a lot of folks do a lot of like courses on channeling and like classes and things like that. I'm not against that. I have myself taken a class on channeling with a shaman that I visit often and meditate with. But we have a really close friendship with her, and so I was already very aware of who she is and what she does, and I felt totally inclined and guided and intuitively kind of like propelled to get that service from her. But if you're just curious about channeling, you want to try, but you're seeing you've Googled it a few times and now you're seeing all these classes pop up like, oh, buy this class to learn channeling, don't do that just yet. Try it on your own, see what happens, and see if you can just kind of keep doing it on your own, because essentially after this class, which is pretty much taught me what I'm teaching you now, in a sense. It was a little different, but I've just been practicing channeling whenever I feel like it, and I've been gradually becoming better at it, where my ego doesn't pretend to be the channeled message as much, or I know how to call it. Like I'll start channeling and the channeled message is coming through, and then it's like ego stuff like blah blah blah, don't do this, and you're running out of time and you should make more money, like. And then I'm like, okay, this channeling's over. I know what it is. Like it's not the ascended master that I'm talking to. It's my own head. So I've figured out how to kind of decipher the two, but it's been just practice. So the better you become at channeling usually is the more you practice it. So I hope this has been helpful. These are the two techniques. First is automatic writing. Second is meditation. Try those out. Maybe try both. See which one you like best. I know that my mom is an artist. She channels by painting, but she's not channeling anyone specifically as far as I know. It just kind of comes over her, and she does some other art that's not channeled. It's just kind of her purposeful, intentional creation, and she does it she has an art business, so she does it for sale. But the channeled art is like, wow, like it's wild. It's like 3D, it's insane. So there are other forms of channeling as well. There are people that are channeling when they're writing poetry. There are people that are channeling when they're writing books. There are people that are channeling when they're writing, I don't know, songs, music. creativity is channeling, essentially. Maybe you're not channeling from someone or somewhere specific, but you're just allowing it to come through you. So, being creative is part of channeling. And so it's not restricted to just these two tactics. But if you want to intentionally channel someone or some ascended master or higher being, or some other cosmic beings from other planes, if you just want to try channeling someone who has passed away from your family, a friend, a family member, try this out. Try the two techniques I just mentioned and tell me in the comments, what's your experience been like? If you have any questions, comment. I respond to all of my comments. And if you would like to get more, content that touches subjects like this, please subscribe. I channel during moons, full moon, new moon for empaths. I channel for myself. There are a few other videos that I mentioned at the beginning that are also channeling related, so these are going to be in the description below. Check them out. If this video has been helpful to you, consider giving it a like. It helps my channel a lot and I would really appreciate it. And again, if you want to chat with me or have questions or want to talk about your experience first time trying channeling, let me know in the comments and I'd be happy to discuss this with you. Now, on this note, I have another video to record, actually another 2 videos to record, so I'm going to move on to doing that. And I will be seeing you guys in the next one. And until then, love you all so very much. Hope you can feel my love. Bye.